Every time he sends me an email, it's got a different job title on it. But effectively, he's involved in the development of the coaches who work for Premier Sport, which is the biggest commercial company, putting coaches into schools. So it's a perspective which comes from the commercial side, the bad side, if you like, the dark side, and the education side. But I'll leave him to tell you what to know.
Thank you. First of all, yeah, thank you for letting me come along today, and thanks to Mick for inviting me. It's a real good opportunity to let a bit of steam about our industry and what we're about. But I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself first and my background and how I got into it. I wasn't too much an academic, never went to university and studied so much. I was an ex-professional footballer and then made the grade. Went into semi-professional football and still play. Reluctantly to this day, the body's tired, and I went into down the football coaching route. I was very fortunate as an apprentice footballer to get educated in coaching and achieved a level 3 UEFA award in football at quite an early age. I got a job as a part-time soccer assistant, it was called, for a company called JJB, or not JJB, Dave Whelan, and he just got the new JJB Stadium in Wigan, as you can tell by the accent, it's where I'm from. No, it's not Wigan, in fact it's actually Leigh, so I don't like being called a Wiganer because you know it goes against us, so I'm from a place called Leigh. And he built what was called the JJB Soccer Dome. It was right next door to the new stadium. It was 12 indoor soccer pitches, new 3G AstroTurf, and we wanted to get people in there. We used to do the 6-a-side leagues and coaching courses and mainly football. Very quickly, I was working with a guy called Darren Bowles, who was the soccer development manager for JJB. And the plan was to build a number of these centres right across the country. I think he got to about 6 different centres, Wigan being the first. It was, of course, Dave Whelan's little baby. He was there all the time. It had to work. This is what it was about. But it was about football coaching. Darren Bowles was working with, got taken on by Blackburn Rovers, and the FA recruited him. And the only person who knew the system, what he was creating, was myself. So very early, I was 19 years of age, I was put in charge as soccer development manager. It was my job to recruit coaches and to get young people playing football on these pitches. To which I did very well. The centre sold itself, but what was mainly important for me was making sure the coaches that were recruited did a good job, because it was the parents who was paying every single week to get these children to come on these pitches. It was every Saturday, Sunday, every evening, and that was really good. But with management became leisure management, something I wasn't interested in doing, to be honest. The toilets was clean, recruiting staff rotas, cashing up, good experience, but not what I wanted to do. So I went back into teaching, went to night school and studied, and became a tutor, trainer, assessor for a training provider. Again, working with apprentice footballers, adults, young people, children on need programmes, and that was my route. But again, educating and working with people, which is what I found was most enjoyable and what I found I was quite good at. So that's what I wanted to stick with. Then a good friend of mine, actually my best friend, approached me about Premier Sports. As Mick said, Premier Sports is the UK's largest commercial provider, delivering multi-sports and a range of activities to young people in primary schools. And it's a franchise-based operation, so I had to quit my job and went into running my own business. And found it turned to be really successful, and we purchased 2 areas, which is the Wigan and Bolton area. And the way the business was set up is I was pretty much doing the teaching and the coaching, and my partner was operating the business. Within the first 6 weeks, we hit our 12 months targets, and that was just going to the schools, the primary schools in Leigh, me predominantly doing the coaching with these people, but the schools seeing it as a need because they didn't have that ability to do that. And it's grown and grown and grown. As a franchise now, we employ 13 full-time coaches that go into schools every single day of the week, and we have a team of around 22 coaches or staff operating across the Wigan and Bolton area. And from a business perspective, that turns over £400,000 a year. The profit margins are not as big as we'd like at the moment, because you know what we do is all about developing and retaining the coaches and making sure that their development continues. And saying that, we've now been operating for 5 years as a local franchise, and we've got 6 of our full-time coaches who's been with us pretty much from day dot. And that's because of their development and what we've been doing with them. And the customers, which have been our parents, schools and children, have retained them. They keep renewing their contracts, booking events, using them to run competitions, school sports days, and various other things, where they become an extension of the school team. So the product works. Over the last 2 years, I was appointed National Coach and Training Development Officer. And my partner was appointed as Operations Manager for the whole franchise network. We operate across 91 territories across the country. The territory used to be a learning authority, it's now on a postcode basis, right across the country, split across 9 regions. We recruit around 375 coaches across the country, all at different levels, and our targets obviously continue to grow rapidly and dramatically. And the reason we do that is down to, I'm a firm believer, it's down to the quality that we provide. And yeah, it does have areas where it does need improvement. I totally agree, and I don't know if anybody aware of the new Compass directive. That's again moved from strength to strength, and that's something we're about. It's about putting a quality mark in the industry. So again, that's a bit about my background and how Premier Sport was established and what we do in terms of making sure that we get the quality. Now, when we take a franchise on, the franchisees come from a variety of different backgrounds. First of all, they'll come on as a coach who we need to educate on the business side of things to run their own business. And sometimes we're getting people who come from a business purpose. We've got ex-bankers and various other people who then need to learn about the sport industry. And they might just see that as a hobby, because we've got a banker who just does his son's football team, and he sees that's something I want to do for a job. So we provide them with that opportunity. But what we get now is a lot of coaches who apply for a job with Premier Sport, and they'll come on with a rugby union qualification, football qualification, hockey, a range of different sports degrees, and you know, you name it, we've seen the qualifications that they come in with, saying that they can coach. So we'll interview them, and we do what's called coach profiling. So on application, a coach will need to go through a process, right? What's your background? We'll reflect and review. We'll look at them right at the very, very start. Safeguarding, of course. And then we'll have a series of additional certificates and qualifications, one of which being multi-skills. They must have that background. It's really important, and we'll come to that in a little while. But once they've been recruited, that's just the start of the profile. There's then a standard induction that every coach must go through before they can be deployed into the schools. They're not allowed to go in until they've been inducted. Now, bear in mind, this person could have come on with a degree, a level 3 coaching badge, in a range of different sports, still has to come in at the bottom. They then have to do our induction. They then also have to go and observe. And there's 18 hours minimum of voluntary observation of experienced coaches that they need to do. So if we're just looking at the sort of the backgrounds, the NGB and doing the coaches, doing the NGB different levels of qualifications and the degrees, I've just took a note there before, at the moment there's 10 different coaching or 10 different degree level courses that involve coaching, none of which is acceptable by Premier Sport at the moment. So you can come in and start work. So there's something not quite right. There's also a massive, massive need within schools, and I asked Mick to leave this on. If we look at the coaches of children, I'm going to take it lower than that, to the 2-year-olds, or 2 to 5-year-olds, of where there's no sort of competencies, there's no qualification that gets somebody ready to do that unless you've been on an early years programme. And these football coaches with level 2 badges doing sessions with these children at the moment as we speak, some of them private organisations, I call them man with a bag of balls, who'll set out an area with a group of 3, 4-year-old children, all with the same size football, and all they do for the entire session is go and get the football outside the grid and bring it back in again. And then it runs off again, they go get it and bring it back. So they've no education of what they're doing. Yet schools, people are buying this person in and using them, okay? So, our recruitment process goes through the whole shebang. It looks at, right, that early years. It looks at the next level. It looks at, we did use the long-term athlete development program and making sure that coaches understand that it starts with at early years. It's about playing, it's about being active, it's about just having a good time. And once they've got that baseline of delivery, how to set up a safe area, safe practice, understanding that's there first of all, then they can start to move up our sort of ladder to success, or our journey as a coach, that what we put in place. The session running, that's got, it's set up, it's clearly set up, it's got visual equipment, the coach is authoritative, they're in control, I'm happy. What they don't see is the actual teaching and learning that's taking place. And what they don't see is what they're not really bothered about. And that's the primary school culture at the moment that we're in. Okay? And if we stick with primary school, if we look at a primary school teacher, their experience and their of sport and what they're going to be doing, usually, in most cases, they've had a bad experience. And most people's bad experience of schooling tends to be through sport or PE. So you've got teachers now who are expected to deliver PE to a higher quality level who don't have any sort of underpinning knowledge in sport, and have most probably had a bad experience themselves. So this is where obviously our coaches come in. So if we look at the framework, we've got the entry level coach. So that's 18 hours observation. They hit the minimum operating standards that's set, which we have to do at the moment, which is a level 2. And we wouldn't have it any other way, I'll be deadly honest with you. So that coach can plan, deliver, and evaluate the sessions. Okay? What we do disagree with is having an NGB level 2 in all the particular sports, which the old school sports partnership model was encouraging for any external coach going into school. Not the correct way of doing it. For example, if we look at level 2 football phases of play, never going to do that in a primary school. Cricket, level 2, I'm never going to get a corky ball out and ball it in nets at wickets using a wooden bat wickets. It's quick cricket. It's play. It's letting these children get involved. So if we're looking at coaches, it's about putting them and training them to be creative at this level. So we're using this, we've got tag rugby, that's exactly what we do in primary schools. So it's not rugby league, it's not rugby union. At the basic level, from the early years, key stage 1, it's let's have some fun. Let's play Trollsbridge. But as a coach, you're taking a step back and they're managing the environment and they're observing the children and they're assessing the children of their different needs and their different levels. So what do you get in primary schools? This is why I was challenging it before, what's the most difficult age group, is what have you got at that age that's really challenging as a coach? What do you have in a group, whether it's a club or class? You've got so many mixed abilities. Okay, you've got the child who's inactive, physically inactive, potentially obese. You've got the technological age at the moment where a child can come home, get on a computer quite easily. You know, I'll share a story with you on that. I went to a christening recently with my old man. And as grandparents do, they love to spoil a little lad. I've got 2 young boys, and the 3-year-old, they give me his iPhone. And he sat there on the iPhone, opens it, and he's away. He's just sat there. And I've come in and gone mad at me. My dad, I said, take that off him. I don't want him playing on that. You know, I want him to be doing more. It's so easy for him to just get on that. What do you think happened? Literally minutes of me taking that phone off him. 3-year-old. Yeah, he kicked off. Yeah, what else did he do though? After he'd settled down? Started playing. He was up, he made 4 new friends, he was skidding on his knees on the dance floor, like they all do. He was playing hide and seek, playing tag, but he's active. He's physically active. And that's what we face now, day in, day out. PlayStations, Xboxes, you see it on the Wii's, all that makes it so easy. So parents are not educated.